Well, we're already back to the Nintendo sports games. At least Volleyball is one I haven't talked about before. Volleyball might seem like an odd selection for a game, but there's a reason Nintendo made it. In the early 80s, Japan was a volleyball powerhouse. In 1977, Japan became the official permanent host of the Volleyball World Cup, and the national women's team, called Hinotori Nippon, had consistently done very well. And yes, that is Osamu Tezuka's Hinotori that they use as their logo, though the team wasn't named after his work. So volleyball had a bit of a high profile in Japan at the time, and that naturally led to volleyball video games. Nintendo's Volleyball isn't the first console volleyball game, but it is the first to represent the sport relatively accurately as it's played with teams. Each team has 6 players on the court. The rules are accurate to my understanding, and they even offer male or female players. That means that volleyball is the first time that someone who is visibly presenting as a human woman has been a playable character on a Nintendo console. There's been a few female animals, and Mach Rider is a woman if you consider the end of the arcade game canonical. There is no difference between the women's team and the men's team. It is solely a sprite swap. All of this is adding up to a distinctive, special game for the Famicom Disk System. Just one problem: volleyball isn't very good. If you're playing on your own, you're always playing as the Japanese team, and then you select your opponent. The opponent is actually a difficulty selection, and the difficulty is determined by that country's standing in the Volleyball World Cup. So USSR on the top, and Tunisia at the bottom. It goes down the left-hand column and then down the right-hand column. Then you get into a match, and the controls are a bit of a mess. Not the basics. If you just want to bop the ball back and forth, it's pretty easy to do. Tapping the A button will knock the ball up high. If you're pressing up, down, or away from your opponent, then you're passing to one of your teammates. And if you're pressing towards your opponent's side, then you're hitting the ball over the net. Things get a lot more complicated with the B button. You have to very, very briefly tap the B button in order to do a low hit. This works the same as the A button passes. And if you hold down the B button for more than the briefest of instants, then you jump into the air. If you keep holding down the B button, and the ball intersects with the player in the air, then you'll do a spike. The timing is absurdly tight to do this. And just like with passing, what direction you're pushing on the D-pad as you hold down the B button determines where you're aiming that spike. What players you're controlling on the team constantly shifts with every hit. There's a training mode in the main menu, which gives you a very easy computer opponent, and the outfits of your teammates change to red for the ones that you're controlling. The ball also moves slower in this mode. In the versus match, you have to score 15 points before your opponent to win the game, and you have to win 3 games to win the match. The big problem with volleyball is that it's very difficult to understand exactly where the ball is going, and where your players are positioned relative to it. There's a certain amount of area around the players where they'll interact with the ball, but I really couldn't get a grip on how far away that was. There's lots of shots where I didn't get the ball but I thought I should have, and plenty where I thought I was too far away, and then they still hit the ball. Volleyball feels inconsistent. It makes it more frustrating to play volleyball than it really should be. When the match is over in volleyball, the whole thing is over. You're back to the main menu. There's really no progression here. Now, despite these problems, volleyball was a monster hit. The 3rd biggest game for the Famicom Disk System, with nearly 2 million copies sold. Maybe it's because there just wasn't a better volleyball video game out there. Maybe Nintendo tapped into a vein of people desperate for volleyball. Though, to this day, it is the best-selling volleyball game ever. Yes, I really did look up every single volleyball game and verify their sales as best I could. I'm a little worried that my negative reaction to volleyball is a result of me, personally, not caring about volleyball as a sport. But the way it feels with that really tight timing to do anything fancier than pass the ball over the net, and how it even makes that difficult to do if you want to keep the ball short, and how it switches up which players you're controlling all the time, and how the shadow of the ball and the players never quite seem to be in sync the way I think it should be. It all makes me feel that volleyball really isn't that great of a game. Probably not worth revisiting at all. And similar to other Nintendo sports titles, I suspect it succeeded mainly by being there. Sometimes all you need to do to win is show up.